I was once talking to an overweight individual, and I was telling them, hey, I think it would be good if you lost some weight. The weight that you're at now is unhealthy, and I'm worried about your health. I can help you lose weight. Here are some things that you could do to lose weight. I will be there every step of the way, so on and so forth. And the person essentially responded with, I know how much work and effort it would take, and it's not worth my time. Well, here's my answer to that. This article is from, I guess, the Healthy Lompoc Coalition. I'll put the link to the article in the video description. And to the person who said that putting in the time and effort to get healthy is not worth their time, I simply am going to read this article. New analysis of 57 studies involving nearly 900,000 people reveals that obesity can shorten a person's lifespan by up to 8 to 10 years. The study was conducted by a team of researchers from all over the world to examine how body mass index, or BMI, relates to mortality, aka death rates. A BMI of 18.5 to 24.9 is normal. For example, a woman who is 5 foot 8 inches and weighs 150 pounds would be considered in the normal BMI range. A BMI of 25 to 29.9 is considered overweight, and BMI scores of 30 or more are classified as obese. The same woman who is 5 foot 8 inches tall, who now weighs 200 pounds, would be considered obese. Gaining 50 pounds can have a big impact on lifespan. The study reported that the risk for mortality goes up 30% with every 5 BMI points. Going from a weight of 150 pounds to 200 pounds has increased that woman's risk for premature death by 30%. The researchers determined that having a BMI of 30 to 35 takes 2 to 4 years off the average lifespan, and a BMI between 40 and 45 reduces lifespan by 8 to 10 years. The elevated risk for mortality is due to higher incidence of cardiovascular disease, diabetes, kidney, and liver disease in obese people. The good news is that obesity is both preventable and reversible. If you have a high BMI and you decrease your weight, you will also decrease your risk for illness and premature death. If you are concerned about your weight and your health risks, see your healthcare provider and ask about your BMI. If you begin making lifestyle changes now, you will enjoy many more happy and healthy years with the ones you love. All right, and that's a BMI chart. If you've never seen one before, that's what it looks like. Essentially, you plug in your height and your age and your weight, and it gives you your BMI. So let's see, I'm 5 foot 7, so I guess I'm on this line here, and I'm 140 pounds. So my BMI is 22, I guess, which puts me in the healthy range. Cool, awesome. So I'd like to get down to the bottom of that, but I don't want to get into the underweight range because underweight can also be associated with increased mortality. Right, so to the person who said that it wasn't worth your time to lose weight and get in shape, is 10 years of lifespan worth your time? Would you like to live to 50 instead of 40 or 60 instead of 50? All right, let's say that you're okay with being fat and overweight and dying 10 years earlier. Look, in reality, those are averages taken from a study encompassing 900,000 people. In reality, you may die 20 years earlier. You may have a heart attack at 30. And someone else who's really fat might live to 70. Who knows? The studies and the data show that being overweight increases your risks across the board for a multitude of potentially fatal health issues. So, like cancer. Cancer, yeah, it can be caused by excess radiation, eating weird chemicals, carcinogens, but just literally just being fat increases your cancer risk a lot. And cardiovascular disease is the #1 killer in the United States. Being fat really ramps up your chances for cardiovascular disease. So does eating a diet high in saturated fats, increasing the plaque on your artery walls, which is how you get a coronary event. But again, being fat kind of just increases all these risks. So the solution is, do you want to live longer? Then don't be fat. And how much time and commitment are we talking here? Well, I probably spend no more than 2 hours a day exercising. But guess what? While I'm exercising, I'm getting a lot of benefits. It clears my mind. It makes me mellow out. I often use exercise as a way to de-stress myself. I have, sometimes my job can be stressful. Sometimes there's a lot of pressure and I have responsibility. Sometimes it makes me stress out. I freak out. Sometimes I have to just get up from my desk and go take a walk or a run because I just can't function as a professional. And if I talk to someone, I'm going to flip out. I have to deal with stress. Everyone has to deal with stress. Exercising helps me relieve stress. So let's say that living longer was the only benefit that you would get from putting in 2 hours of exercise a day. And in reality, that is way overkill. You don't need to put in 2 hours of exercise a day. But let's just say that all the time that I spend carefully, meticulously planning my food so that I don't get overweight and getting my exercise in, let's just say it takes 2 hours a day. I'm not going to do the math, and maybe it's more than 10 years, but you get more than 10 years on your lifespan. Because in addition to the extra years that you're going to live, which again, hey, getting healthy, not worth your time. Well, if you're not going to live 10 more years, is that worth your time? Is it worth your time to spend a little bit of time now so that you can have 10 more years of lifespan, potentially many more? I think so. I think it's a little short-sighted to say that exercise and health is not worth a person's time. No, it's worth everyone's time. In addition to the lifespan, well, what does that imply? Let's take a fat life versus a not fat life. If there's two me, there's me today and there's doppelganger me. Doppelganger me is morbidly obese. Doppelganger me has a BMI of over 30. So here's me today, and here's doppelganger me over here, 200 plus pounds. Another 60 or 70 pounds over what I weigh today, and we're going to live our lives. Now doppelganger me is going to die 10 years earlier, according to the study. So me here, I get another 10 years of life. So I get to experience 10 more years of grandkids, family and friends, or what's left of them, right? If we're all getting old, dying. News, technology, writing books, just, maybe for 10 years I sip tea and crumpets, whatever. That's 10 more years that I get. Cool. But what else do you get for for living a non-fat lifestyle where you stick to a healthy BMI? What else do you get? Well, hey, all of those things that make you live 10 less years, like heart disease, stroke, cancer, whatever else is caused by obesity, like literally just falling down and hitting your head and dying because you're so fat that when you fall, it breaks your ribs or something, and then you get sepsis. Or diabetes. There's another one. Diabetes. You get so fat that you can't. Your foot goes numb, and then you get a gangrenous leg, and your leg gets chopped off, and you die from sepsis. That happened to my uncle. He was my cousin technically. Back when I was a little kid, my cousin was really, really obese. Every time he came over, he smelled terrible, and he always had a great sense of humor and a smile. I really miss him so much. And he was just obese, and he got diabetes and then an infection in the foot. Doesn't happen when you're skinny. I mean, sure, it could happen, but for the most part, no. Those are all fat people problems. Okay, let's not think about the 10 years of extra life that you get for being skinny. Well, hey, all those health conditions that kill you, that take the 10 years off the life, what are those other years of life? Like, let's say that you live 40 years instead of 50. Okay, but you're living 40 years, living your best life, girl. Just eating whatever you want for 40 years instead of 50. You say, you know what, I don't want to live to 50. I'm just going to live till 40. But I'm going to eat whatever the hell I want, and I'm not going to worry about diet and weight. And that's going to be awesome. That's worth more to me than working out or exercising 1 or 2 hours a day every day. I would rather just be able to pig out and eat whatever I want, not worry about my health and weight, and drink and do drugs, eat candy and ice cream and cheese pizza and whatever, and just not care. And who cares if I die 10 years earlier? Who cares? Well, you know what? Those remaining years of life that you're going to have are going to be inferior to the years of life that you would have if you hadn't been fat. And how do I know this? I know this from personal experience. If you've been watching my videos, you know that I've lost weight. I went from a BMI of over 28, I think almost 29, which is almost obese. In fact, that was when I started. When I started, I was at 175, 176 pounds. And the BMI at that time was 28 and a half or 29. But at my heaviest, which was a year and a half or 2 years ago, I was at 200 pounds, which is, what do you know? It's a BMI of 31, which is obese. That is obese. It's not morbidly obese, but it's obese. So like a year and a half, 2 years ago, I was obese. That means that if I'd kept living at that weight a year and a half to 2 years ago, that would have been taking 10 years off my lifespan. So I'm sure glad that I lost some weight, and I sure hope that those years that I was obese didn't hurt me too much in the long run, but you can only hope, right? Anyways, let's say you say, heck with it, I'm just going to live 40 years instead of 50, and I'm going to stuff my face, and I don't care. I'm going to drink all the time, do cocaine, eat cheese pizza, whatever. I don't care. Body, to the heck with this body. I'm just going to enjoy my time. Well, you know what? You're not enjoying your time, because when I was obese, my knees hurt all the time. I had back pain. I would get aches and pains. I was tired more often. Things would just make me sweat. Exercise was hard. Running was painful, and I didn't run. If I tried to run, it didn't last long. Going up and down stairs could cause knee pain. I couldn't bend over at all. I had no flexibility. Sitting in my desk would mess with my back. And like I said before, I just felt tired more often. I would be hanging out with my friends that were normal weight, like skinny, and they would be ready to go and raring to go, and I'd start to get tired. Well, it turns out that being fat literally sucks the life out of you. It makes you tired. I've been on weight loss forums, and I've gotten anecdotes from plenty of other people that have lost weight, and they've all noticed the same thing. When you lose weight, you're less tired more often. Being heavy, having fat takes a toll on your energy levels throughout the day, every day, for your whole life. So let's say you say, to the heck with it, and I'm just going to eat whatever you want. I don't care if I live 10 years less. It's going to be worth it, because I'm going to be able to live the lifestyle where I eat wherever I want. Well, you're also going to be living the lifestyle where you get tired several hours before I do. You're going to be living the lifestyle where you have random aches and pains and back pain and knee pain, and you're going to get tingling in your foot, and you're going to get shortness of breath and redheaded and sweaty. You're going to be living the lifestyle where if you don't put antimicrobial chlormetazole on your thighs after any kind of exercise or walking at all, you're going to get fungus rashes on your groin. I lived through that because I was obese. I had to put up with that. It was just part of life. I always had a tube of antifungal cream, because that's something that you get when you're fat. You know, ask any fat person, they're going to tell you, oh yeah, that's a thing. Ask a skinny person, they might not know what you're talking about. I didn't realize until earlier this week that I haven't had one of these rashes that I used to get all the time for years. I haven't had one of them in, I can't remember how long, 6 months, 5 months. It's a fat thing. You don't get it if you're not fat. You also don't get tired as much when you're not fat, and you don't get all the bone pain and the joint pain, all the pain and the aches and the lethargy and the fatigue. That all goes away when you get into the normal weight spectrum and you get out of the overweight spectrum. So not only am I going to live maybe 10 years longer than doppelganger me, who is obese, but I'm also going to enjoy those years, plus the 10 years more than doppelganger me. So doppelganger me gets to stuff his face. Cool. I get to have more fun and do more things and have a higher quality of life on those days while doppelganger me is still alive. And then doppelganger me, obese, fat, duplicate me, is going to die, and I'm going to keep living for 10 more years, and my quality of life is still going to be higher than overweight, dead doppelganger me. So if you think that putting in the time and effort to lose weight is not worth it, read this article, watch this video, and ask yourself, hey, is it worth it? Because I'm telling you, it is not worth it. It's not worth it to be fat and not keep track of your health and eat whatever you want. Just live a lifestyle of greed and what's that other deadly sin? Gluttony. It's not worth it to live a life of gluttony because your quality of life will be lower and your overall lifespan will be lower too. You're just going to lead an inferior, less enjoyable life. And you only get one life, so why wouldn't you want your life to be as long and enjoyable as possible? There's people who live to 100 and they're still with it because they live a healthy lifestyle and they stay active. A lot of people, they get 50, 60 and dementia starts coming on because they never were active and they ate like garbage their whole lives. So they start getting dementia and at 60. And then other people live until they're 80 or 90 before they get dementia. So that again goes with the quality of life. And obviously genetics are going to play a factor in all of this, but you can't do anything about genetics. C'est la vie. My family has crazy high rates of heart disease. We have Alzheimer's. We have all sorts of weird hormone imbalances that run in the family. It's a crapshoot. You never know what you're going to get with family genetics. But at least you can control your BMI. You can control your BMI. You can control your weight. You can control being obese or not. And when you do that, despite your genetics, you're going to have a higher quality of life and you're going to have a longer life.